Hello, I'm glad you came. I'm going to answer a question for you tonight. American Baptist Churches USA has suggested that to talk to others about Christ, we should do it joyfully and we should tell personal stories. So I'm going to answer a question for you. The question being, why do I believe in Jesus Christ? And I'm going to do it by telling you a story. Now, we got to start this story a ways back. No, not Genesis back, not Abraham back, but just my personal back to when I was a little kid. See, I've been raised as a Christian. I'm raised in a Christian family. You go, oh, well, there's the whole story. That's it. We're done, right? No, not quite. All right, now when I was little, I heard all the Bible stories, and we sang the songs, Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so, and red and yellow, black and white, they are lovely in his sight. Jesus loves the little children of the world, and I think I got one word wrong in that. Anyway, and that was fine. That was all right. But, it didn't speak to me on a deep emotional level. What did was Cecil B. DeMille's The 10 Commandments. Now, if you're a little kid, that gets your attention. There's Moses, Charlton Heston that is, dropping down in front of a bush that's on fire but won't burn up. And out of it comes this deep, basso profundo voice that says, I am the God of your forefathers, the God of Abraham and Jacob and Isaac. And that's good. But later on, there's the whole fiery finger of God writing all the thou shalt nots on rock, blasting them in there, and then burning the rock out of the wall as Moses just cringes and his hair turns white. And now, if you're a little kid and you see that, you go, now that's how God talks to people. I want God to talk to me like that. I want to have one of those mountaintop moments like Moses. Well, the years went by, and needless to say, there was no burning bush in my life. There was no fiery finger of God. There was no deep basso profundo voice. And I started to think, that kind of thing just doesn't happen anymore. That was a Bible thing. Then, years later, in adulthood, I was asked to go along on a trip to the YMCA of the Rockies. That's where the American Baptist youth meet every 4 years. And I was asked to go along as a chaperone. Oh, well, that's a nice job. I'll go along and do that. That sounds great. Well, once we were in the airplane, the door was sealed and we'd taken off. The leader of our group, a friend of mine, said, oh, by the way, Jeff, they know that you do Christian drama. And they want you this week to teach a group how it's done. Well, needless to say, this was a little startling. I was a little taken aback. And when I got there, I scrambled off to their library and found some little skits that they had and began working on putting together a curriculum. And I met with my class. We started it all out. We had a little joke that we were going to tell. We were going to act it out. That was what was it? It was Hugh the Blacksmith, which is a terrible joke, but it's great to act out as a warm-up piece, especially if you get somebody out of the audience who's kind of grumpy and doesn't go along with it really well. It's very entertaining. But that's beside the point. I digress. We're going through the week. Everything's going well until we get to the midpoint, and I find out that there's going to be a professional troupe of actors showing up at the same talent show where we're supposed to deliver our little tiny skits. I'm furious. Not for myself, not for the work that I put in this, but because I thought this was going to ruin the experience for the actors and actresses that I'd been working with over the week. They really enjoyed the process, but I was really afraid that if their little skits went up against a professional troupe, and what they would do, they would feel blown out of the water and embarrassed. And that really made me mad. I was steaming all day. It was towards mid-afternoon, and I decided I was going to go have it out with the director, find out what this was all about. And I am walking across this broad, grassy area between two buildings, just living. As I'm going across that field, suddenly, I get the feeling, a very strong feeling, that there's someone behind me and to my right. The feeling is so strong that I stop dead in my tracks and I turn to the right. Now there's no one physically standing there, but I immediately felt that Jesus Christ was present with me in that moment. And when I felt that, suddenly I was hit by the most overwhelming sense of peace that I had ever felt in my life. This was what the Bible talks about when they say a peace that passes all understanding, a peace that comes from God. I had been given a gift in that moment. It's very startling. And I got the immediate impression that I really shouldn't worry about this. Everything was going to be fine. And truly it was. We had a little coffee house performance. The major troupe was off in another building altogether, and everything worked out well. But that's not the point. The point is that in a moment of anger, Jesus Christ chose to walk across that field and give me a gift that has lasted for the rest of my life, an intimation of the peace that we will feel with God in heaven. And I'll tell you, this has changed my life. That sense of peace, which I felt darkly through the glass, as they say, has changed how I view the passing of loved ones and friends. When I have been at funerals, my grief has been tempered by the knowledge that those that I love are now standing before God and feeling that sense of peace completely. A peace that I'd only gotten a suggestion of, and that was so beautiful that it tempers my grief and it tempers my pain, knowing that they are living in that peace and joy. Now, it's years later, after this, that I realized God had answered my childhood wish. I had had my mountaintop moment with God when Christ walked across that field and gave me a gift that I can never repay. And that's why. That's one reason why I believe in Jesus Christ. And now before you go, I just want to give you a little blessing. I'm hoping that one day you too will have a mountaintop moment with Christ, and that your life will be changed as well. God bless you. Goodbye.